Picture this. It is June 2023, Chicago. Streets soaked, rain hammering the asphalt. Visibility almost zero. Every experienced NASCAR Cup driver, men who have spent their entire lives mastering this sport, struggling just to survive. And then, a man nobody in NASCAR has ever heard of quietly climbs into the number 97 Chevrolet. His very first race, his first start in the NASCAR Cup Series, on a street course, in the rain, against the greatest drivers in America. The broadcast cuts to his footwell camera, and the entire NASCAR garage goes silent because what they see in that moment will haunt every crew chief, every engineer, and every driver in that paddock for years to come. His left foot is doing something nobody in that garage has done in 15 years, something they all know about, something they all have the data for, something that has been broken down, explained, and analyzed, and not one of them can copy it. He wins the race. And from that moment, the sport of NASCAR has never been the same. His name is Shane Van Gisbergen, and what he carries in his left foot is the most unfair, most uncopyable, most historically dominant technical advantage NASCAR has seen in a generation. This is that story. Before we go further, I need to be honest with you. I started this channel because I was tired of the fluff, tired of coverage that never goes deep enough to tell you what is actually happening on that track. If you are here, you are exactly who this channel was built for. So if this is your first time, hit subscribe right now. Hit the bell, because when the rest of the internet is reacting to headlines, NASCAR report. Today is already 2 steps ahead. Now, let us get into what is really happening. To understand why Van Gisbergen's technique is so dangerous, you need to understand what the NASCAR Next Gen car gives every driver. It runs a 5-speed sequential gearbox. No clutch required to change gears. The clutch pedal exists for exactly 2 moments, pulling off pit road and the green flag start. After that, it is a footrest, a decorative pedal doing absolutely nothing. Every American driver operates the same way. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Christopher Bell. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the throttle. Clutch, completely ignored, clean, efficient, modern. Until Chicago 2023, when Shane Van Gisbergen made that pedal the most important piece of equipment in the entire sport. When that footwell camera footage aired, the paddock saw something from a completely different motorsport world. Van Gisbergen was running a full heel and toe pedal sequence, right foot blipping the throttle with the side of his shoe, left foot stabbing the clutch. Brake pedal worked at the same time, classic heel and toe technique, in a car that does not need a clutch to shift, in a series where nobody had attempted this in 15 years. Now here is the mistake almost everyone made watching that footage. They assumed he was using the clutch to smooth his gear changes. That is completely wrong. He was not using it for the gearbox. He was using it for the rear tires. To understand this, you have to go back to Bathurst, Australia, the most demanding road circuit on the planet. In the Supercars series, where Van Gisbergen won 3 championships and 3 Bathurst 1000 victories, every car runs a locked rear differential. A locked diff under heavy braking with high rear brake bias will break the rear loose and try to take the car sideways with it. The solution every serious supercars driver learns at Bathurst, the survival skill, is to feather the clutch, dip it in, briefly disconnect the engine from the rear wheel, at the peak of the braking zone. The rear settles. Then, as you turn in, the clutch comes back out. The drivetrain re-engages, and that snap of reconnection pulls the nose of the car into the corner like a mechanical anchor. Shane Van Gisbergen spent years drilling this into his nervous system at Bathurst, over and over, until it was not a skill anymore, until it was breathing. And when he stepped into the NASCAR Next Gen car, he brought every single rep of that muscle memory with him. Van Gisbergen himself told Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the Dale Jr. Download podcast that the Next Gen car runs an open differential, not locked like the Supercars machine. The exact mechanical problem that made the clutch trick mandatory at Bathurst does not exist in the same form in NASCAR. He even said, classic Kiwi understatement, "I don't think it is a big advantage." Of course I'm going to say that, but it's all I've known. But watch the SMT telemetry data, the open system every team in the garage has access to. He is still doing it, every corner, every lap, every race. Because the micro disconnect of the clutch under braking, that fraction of a second where the engine is not loading the rear axle, allows him to protect his rear tires at a level nobody else in the field can match. Dale Earnhardt Jr. broke it down directly. "This ain't something NASCAR guys do. We don't use the clutch to control wheel hop or any of that." And Connor Zilisch, the 19-year-old Trackhouse rookie, Van Gisbergen's closest challenger on road courses, described what that looks like. You never see him slipping tires. There are times out of turn 6 into turn 7 where everybody else is getting to wide open throttle, and he is not even getting there. Just little things where he does not push the car beyond what it needs. And then Zilisch described what that patience becomes by the end of a long run. Whenever people say he is toying with people, it might not even be on purpose. He just saves his stuff, maintains the lead, and when he wants to go, he can go. That is the weapon, not raw pace. Tire preservation that turns into a pace advantage when everyone else's rear rubber is already gone. Kyle Larson, arguably the most gifted driver in the field, was asked directly about copying the technique at Sonoma. "You can't teach an old dog new tricks. There's zero chance I can learn how to do that. And even if I did, zero chance it could be better than what I'm doing now." Denny Hamlin was actually taught heel and toe earlier in his career. He won at Mexico City using right foot braking. After 2 decades of left foot braking embedded in his muscle memory, he says going back is not an option. Austin Cindric flew to Adelaide, Australia, ran a supercars wildcard race, specifically to learn this technique in a car where it is mechanically mandatory. He came back, still cannot execute it reliably under race pressure. And Ross Chastain, Van Gisbergen's own teammate at Trackhouse, the man with more direct access to his data than anyone in the paddock, said it plainly. "My feet go to the wrong pedals when I try it his way. I can do it for a corner or 3, and then, the next lap, I go back to my way. It is just muscle memory." Dale Earnhardt Jr. put the final word on all of it. "This is a technique you need to be doing from the day you start driving race cars. It cannot be retrofitted into a driver who has spent a decade building their braking technique in the opposite direction. The garage has the data. The footage exists." Earnhardt explained it publicly. And still, not one driver in the Cup field can make it work under race conditions. The numbers this advantage has produced are historically significant. In 2025, Van Gisbergen won 5 of 6 road course races: Charlotte Roval, Watkins Glen, Mexico City, Sonoma, Chicago. That run moved him to equal third on the all-time NASCAR road course wins list. His average running position on road courses across 2025, 3.34. The next closest driver? Christopher Bell at 10.09, nearly 7 positions worse on average. In 2026, he won Watkins Glen by 7.288 seconds. He won the Chicago pole by 0.47 seconds, a margin larger than the gap from second place all the way back to 8th. His career road course win rate in the Cup Series stands at 33%, more than double Kyle Larson, more than double Marcos Ambrose, one of the finest road course specialists this sport has ever seen. Denny Hamlin said it directly. "Has there ever been someone with this big of an advantage on road courses? I don't think so. SVG relative to the field has got a bigger gap than anybody in history. Anybody in history." The conversation not getting enough attention is what this technique could mean on short ovals: Martinsville, Richmond, Phoenix in the championship round. Tracks where corner entry is the entire discipline, where tire management across a long green flag run separates the winner, where rotating the car without overheating the right rear wins races late. The Bathurst philosophy: protect the tires, rotate with the drivetrain, save the rubber, and attack on the restart, is not a road course skill. It is a racecraft philosophy, and it travels. Van Gisbergen recorded his first top 10 on an oval at Kansas in 2025. In 2026, he finished 11th at both Phoenix and Martinsville. The trajectory is measurable, upward. Every month, Kyle Larson said it himself. If Shane figures out the oval, the rest of the field has a serious problem. And behind closed doors in the NASCAR garage, there are whispers about whether his clutch usage is within the spirit of the rulebook. The pedal was never designed as a performance tool. Could NASCAR mandate lockout systems after launch? It sounds extreme. but it has been whispered, and if he wins Phoenix in the championship round with a technique nobody else can replicate, the political pressure will be enormous. A 36-year-old from Auckland, New Zealand, 3 Supercars championship, 3 Bathurst 1000 victories, walking into the most American motorsport on the planet, and rewriting the technique manual 1 corner at a time. Joey Logano cannot copy him. Austin Cindric flew to another continent and came back empty. Ross Chastain's own feet will not cooperate. Kyle Larson says 0 chance. Denny Hamlin says going back is not an option. And NASCAR handed him this advantage completely by accident. The day they built a next-gen car with a clutch pedal that nobody else in the garage knows how to use. Shane Van Gisbergen says people are overthinking it. He is lying, politely, the way Kiwis do. If you think he wins on a proper oval this year, Phoenix, Martinsville, Richmond, drop a Kiwi flag in the comments. Tell us which track it happens on. Next week on NASCAR Report Today, we are breaking down the 1 corner at Sonoma, where Van Gisbergen's data shows him losing 0.2 to Connor Zilisch every single lap, and what that means for the 2026 Titleist title fight. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. This is NASCAR Report Today, and we will see you next week.